My crush Elena held my hand after chemistry class and asked me not to watch when she live-streamed her suicide during third period tomorrow. I called 911 to save her life. 3 years later at graduation, she slipped a note in my locker that said, "You took my choice away. Now I'm going to take everything from you piece by piece until you understand what it's like to lose control." Daniel Thompson, 15, has harbored feelings for Elena Rodriguez since 6th grade at Riverside High School in Cedar Falls, Iowa. After chemistry class, Elena pulls him aside near the lockers. Her usually bright brown eyes avoid his as she makes him promise something that chills him to the bone. Elena reveals her plan. She's going to end her life via live stream the next day during third period. She's taken her father's pistol from his gun safe. She wants everyone who failed her, the teachers who ignored her pleas for help, her parents who only cared about her perfect grades, the students who made her invisible, to witness it and carry that trauma forever. "But not you, Daniel," she whispers, squeezing his hand. "Don't watch. You're the only one who ever really saw me." Daniel stands frozen, feeling her fingers intertwined with his, something he'd dreamed about for months but never like this. That night he can't sleep. He scrolls through Elena's social media, noticing signs he'd missed. The long sleeves in warm weather, the way she'd stopped eating lunch with friends, her haunting poetry posts. He thinks about Mrs. Henderson, his tough but caring English teacher with twin daughters at home. About Mr. Walsh, the new substitute trying his best. About the other students who would witness this horror unfold live. At 3 a.m., Daniel stares at his phone, typing and deleting messages to Elena. What if he's overreacting? What if she hates him forever? What if he loses the only girl who ever made him feel important? Then he imagines the alternative. Elena's empty desk, her parents at a funeral instead of graduation, a live stream that could never be unseen, all because he stayed silent. At 5 a.m., with shaking hands, Daniel calls the crisis prevention hotline. They connect him to police. His voice cracks as he explains everything, providing Elena's full name, address, and the timing she mentioned. "You're saving her life," the officer assures him, but to Daniel, it feels like he's ending it. Cliffhanger. Police arrive at Elena's house at 7:30 a.m., just as she's setting up her phone. The pills are laid out, the goodbye note written. The local news calls it a mental health intervention success story, but Daniel knows Elena will figure out who called. His choice to save her life has set something irreversible in motion. 2 months pass before Elena returns to Riverside High. When she does, everything has changed. She won't look at Daniel, won't respond to his texts. Her new friends, Zoe Martinez and Blake Carter, form a protective barrier around her in the hallways. Daniel hears the whispers. He betrayed her trust. He only did it because he couldn't handle rejection. Some guys just can't take no for an answer. The school has changed too. They hired 2 new counselors, started a peer support program, and trained teachers on warning signs. Everyone says Daniel did the right thing, but he feels like he lost everything that mattered. His best friend since middle school, Connor Walsh, starts acting distant. "Dude, I get that you were worried, but calling the cops on a girl having a breakdown? That's pretty intense," Connor says one day at lunch. Daniel tries to explain, but the words sound hollow even to him. How do you tell people you saved someone's life when that person clearly wishes you hadn't? His grades slip. He can't concentrate in chemistry class, where Elena's empty desk haunted him for months, and now her presence haunts him even more. She sits 3 rows ahead, never turning around, but he feels her awareness of him like a physical weight. His parents, Janet and Robert Thompson, notice his mood changes. They're proud of what he did. His mom even framed the newspaper article about the heroic student intervention, but they worry about their son's withdrawn behavior. "Maybe you should talk to someone," his mom suggests gently. Sometimes doing the right thing can still be hard to process. The peer support group becomes Daniel's refuge. Led by school counselor Miss Patricia Brooks, it's where students can talk about mental health, crisis intervention, and supporting each other. Elena never attends. At one session, another student, Caleb Rodriguez, shares about his own suicide attempt the previous year. "The person who called for help probably saved my life," he says. "I was angry at first, but now I'm grateful someone cared enough to act." Daniel wants to speak up, to share his story, but Elena's friends are everywhere, watching, waiting. He's learned to keep his head down, to avoid drawing attention. Winter formal approaches, the dance Daniel had dreamed of asking Elena to for years. Instead, he stays home watching Netflix with his younger sister Mia, who tries to cheer him up with her favorite comedies. "You know you did the right thing, right?" Mia asks during a commercial break. She's only 13 but sometimes seems wiser than anyone. "I know, Daniel replies, but his voice lacks conviction. Spring semester brings new challenges. Elena seems to be thriving. She's joined the debate team, started a mental health awareness club, and is dating Jake Morrison, a senior on the basketball team. She looks happy, healthy, alive. Sometimes Daniel catches her looking at him across the cafeteria or in the hallways. Her expression is unreadable, but there's something calculating in her gaze that makes his stomach twist. Cliffhanger. 3 months before graduation, Daniel finds an unsigned note in his locker. You think you saved me, but you just taught me what betrayal feels like. Some lessons need to be returned. The handwriting looks familiar, but he can't be sure it's Elena's. Still, a chill runs down his spine as he realizes his troubles might just be beginning. Graduation day arrives gray and humid, typical for May in Cedar Falls. Daniel adjusts his cap nervously as he searches for his family in the packed Jefferson High auditorium. As he scans the crowd, his eyes inevitably find Elena 3 rows ahead with her family, the picture of a recovered survivor. After the ceremony, as families gather for photos by the school's brick entrance, Daniel notices Elena always seems to be in the background of his pictures, phone in hand. His mother, busy arranging the perfect shot, doesn't notice, but Daniel's skin crawls with each flash. Everything okay, honey? His mom asks, noticing his distraction. Daniel forces a smile. What could he say? That the girl whose life he saved is now stalking him? They'd think he was paranoid. The next day, while packing for Northwestern University, Daniel finds the note in his locker, the one mentioned in his story's opening. Elena's distinctive handwriting fills him with dread. You took my choice away. Now I'm going to take everything from you piece by piece until you understand what it feels like to lose control. His hands shake as he stuffs the note in his pocket. He should tell someone, but who would believe him? Elena is the success story, the girl who overcame so much. The first posts appear that weekend. A photo from Trevor Kim's graduation party shows Daniel in the background, apparently staring at Elena. The caption reads, "Great party, though some people clearly can't take a hint, #creepy." Then a TikTok video surfaces. Security footage from school hallways showing Daniel walking behind Elena. Carefully edited to remove context, it looks like he's following her. Comments flood in, this is stalker behavior. No wonder she almost. Some guys just can't handle rejection. Daniel reports the video, but more appear. Each one expertly crafted, each one painting him as an obsessed creep who couldn't leave Elena alone. His Instagram fills with messages from strangers calling him horrible names. Facebook friend requests pour in from fake accounts. He tries reaching out to mutual friends, Connor, Zoe, even teachers who knew the truth. But Elena has gotten to them first. She's shown them the videos, told them how scared she is, how Daniel won't leave her alone. Dude, I don't know what's going on, Connor says when Daniel calls, but you need to back off. Elena's been through enough. Daniel's parents start noticing his jumpy behavior, his constant phone checking, his inability to sleep. They ask what's wrong, but how can he explain that his act of heroism has become his nightmare? 2 weeks after graduation, Daniel stops at Miller's grocery for chips and soda. He feels eyes on him and turns to see Elena at the end of the cereal aisle, phone raised. She smiles and waves, then types something. Seconds later, his phone buzzes. A photo of him shopping with the caption, "Can't even buy groceries without him showing up. Getting really scared now. #help." Daniel abandons his cart and flees, but it's too late. By the time he reaches home, the photo is circulating in Cedar Falls' Facebook community group. People are commenting about calling police, about protecting Elena, about doing something about that Thompson boy. Cliffhanger. Daniel's mother meets him at the door, laptop open, face pale. We need to talk, she says, having seen the posts. For the first time, doubt creeps into her eyes as she asks what's really going on. Daniel sits at the kitchen table, his mother's laptop screen glowing between them. Janet Thompson's face is a mixture of concern and confusion as she scrolls through Facebook posts, Instagram stories, and TikTok videos, all featuring her son in an increasingly sinister light. Daniel, I need you to explain this to me, she says carefully. These posts, they make it look like you've been following Elena Rodriguez. Daniel tries to explain, the orchestrated encounters, the edited videos, the 3-year gap between his 911 call and this sudden campaign. But even to his own ears, it sounds paranoid. A conspiracy by the girl he saved? Staged encounters? Fabricated evidence? His father, Robert, joins them after work, still in his mechanic's coveralls from Thompson Auto Repair. He listens quietly as Daniel shows them the graduation note, but Janet points out it's not signed. Could be from anyone. Son, Robert says slowly. Why would Elena do this? What could she possibly gain? That's when Daniel realizes how perfectly Elena has played this. She's created a scenario where defending himself makes him look guilty, where every explanation sounds like the desperate lies of someone caught red-handed. His phone buzzes constantly with notifications. Friends from high school are unfriending him. People he barely knew are blocking him. His reputation, 3 years of being known as the guy who saved Elena's life, crumbles in real time. Then Connor calls, his voice strained. Daniel, man, I want to believe you, but there's a video of you following Elena in the grocery store. And people are saying you've been doing this for months. It's not what it looks like, Daniel pleads, but Connor has already made up his mind. Maybe you should get some help, dude. This isn't healthy. That night, Daniel lies awake scrolling through social media, watching his digital execution unfold. Someone has created a website called Protect Elena R with a counter at the bottom. Days since last incident, 0. It updates every time someone reports seeing him near Elena. He notices something in one of the videos, a reflection in a storefront window. Another person filming. Elena isn't doing this alone. He screenshots the image and zooms in. The face is blurry but familiar. Blake Carter, one of Elena's protective friends. Daniel now has his first piece of real evidence, but who would believe him? He's already been painted as the villain of this story. His phone buzzes with a message from an unknown number. This is just the beginning. Sweet dreams. Attached is a photo of his house, taken from across Maple Street tonight. Daniel jumps up and peers through his bedroom window. The street appears empty, but he knows she's out there watching, planning. He rushes to his parents' room, shaking his father awake. Robert grabs a flashlight and checks outside while Janet calls the police. When officers arrive, they find nothing. No footprints, no evidence anyone was there. One officer suggests the photo could have been taken earlier with a timer. The other asks if Daniel has been having conflicts with anyone recently. When Daniel tries explaining about Elena, he sees skepticism in their eyes. After the police leave, his parents have the talk. They suggest he see a therapist. His mother mentions that the stress of graduation and starting college can affect people in different ways. Cliffhanger. They don't say they don't believe him, but they don't say they do either. As Daniel lies awake that night, he realizes Elena has successfully isolated him from his support system. His own parents are beginning to doubt him, and Northwestern University orientation starts in just 2 weeks. Northwestern University's campus in Evanston, Illinois, stretches along Lake Michigan like a promise of new beginnings. Daniel Thompson walks across the quad with his roommate assignment letter, hoping for the fresh start he desperately needs. 2 hours from home should be far enough to escape Elena's reach. His roommate, Austin Chin, seems normal enough, pre-med from California into basketball and video games. Austin doesn't recognize Daniel's name or know his story. It's the first time in months Daniel can breathe freely. For 3 weeks, college feels like salvation. Daniel throws himself into classes. Introduction to Psychology ironically becomes his favorite, helping him understand trauma responses and manipulation tactics. He makes friends in his dorm, joins study groups, even goes to a few parties. Then Austin starts acting strange. Quiet conversations end when Daniel enters their room. Austin's phone buzzes constantly with messages. When Daniel asks what's wrong, Austin mumbles about being stressed and leaves for the common room. Daniel recognizes the pattern immediately. The isolation phase just like before. Late one night, his high school friend Lily Patterson texts him, "Daniel, I saw some concerning posts about you online. Just wanted you to know I never believed them. Stay strong." She sends screenshots from Instagram accounts with names like truth_about_predators and campus_safety_watch. The posts are careful, no names mentioned, but the details are unmistakable. Stories about a male student with a history of stalking vulnerable women. Security footage that looks suspiciously like his dorm building. Daniel tries reporting the accounts, but they multiply like Hydra heads, each time more sophisticated, more believable. Elena has learned from her high school mistakes. This time, she's not directly connected to anything, letting others do the work while she remains invisible. His grades slip as paranoia takes hold. How can he focus on calculus when people are photographing him in class? How can he write essays when his laptop might be compromised? One night, Austin finally breaks. He shows Daniel the messages flooding his phone. Anonymous accounts warning him about living with a dangerous person, links to articles about campus safety, stories that sound just real enough to plant doubt. "I requested a room change," Austin admits. "For my own safety. Daniel spends that night in the library, afraid to return to his dorm. That's where he meets Theo Washington, a junior working the late shift at the reference desk. Theo notices Daniel has been there every night that week and asks if he's okay. Something about Theo's genuine concern breaks through Daniel's walls. He finds himself sharing everything, not the whole story but enough about someone from his past trying to destroy his reputation online. Theo listens without judgment, then shares his own story about a vengeful ex who tried to ruin his freshman year. The key, Theo says, is documentation and building a support network. You can't fight lies with more lies, but you can fight them with truth. Theo introduces Daniel to other students who faced similar digital harassment campaigns. They teach him practical skills, how to check for hidden cameras, secure his social media, recognize manipulation tactics. But Elena is escalating faster than Daniel can adapt. Campus security calls him in for a meeting after receiving multiple reports about his behavior. Nothing specific enough for action but enough to create a file. Cliffhanger. Just as Daniel starts building his defense, Lily texts with terrifying news. Elena has enrolled at Northwestern for spring semester. She's not just targeting him from afar anymore, she's coming to his safe space. Spring semester arrives with Elena Rodriguez. Daniel spots her outside the psychology building on the first day of classes, looking healthier and more confident than he's seen her in years. She's talking animatedly with a group of students, gesturing with her hands like she's telling an engaging story. When Elena notices Daniel watching, she doesn't react dramatically, just continues her conversation as if he doesn't exist. But Daniel knows this calculated indifference is part of her strategy. She's establishing herself on campus, building relationships, creating her network. The encounter starts small. Elena appears in the coffee shop right after Daniel arrives, forcing him to choose between staying or leaving. She sits in the back of his psychology lecture hall even though she's not enrolled in the class. She's everywhere and nowhere, visible but untouchable. Daniel's new support system starts getting targeted. Theo receives anonymous threats about protecting predators. Other friends find their social media accounts hacked, embarrassing photos posted. The message is clear: supporting Daniel comes with consequences. Some friends distance themselves, but Theo doubles down. "I've faced bullies before," he tells Daniel. "I'm not about to let another one win." The breakthrough comes from an unexpected source. Professor Margaret Kim, who teaches the psychology course Elena has been auditing, pulls Daniel aside after class. She's noticed Elena attending without enrollment and has received several anonymous emails about Daniel that feel orchestrated. "As someone who studies human behavior," Professor Kim says, "I recognize manipulation when I see it. Look into the university's policies on harassment and stalking, not to file a report necessarily, but to understand your rights." Instead of just defending against Elena's attacks, Daniel and Theo start documenting her violations. Attending classes she's not enrolled in, accessing buildings without authorization, creating a hostile environment for enrolled students. The opportunity to expose Elena comes during a campus safety workshop on bystander intervention. Daniel knows Elena won't miss it. Sure enough, she's there with her new friends. During the discussion, Daniel calmly describes being followed between classes, photographed without consent, and having someone attend his lectures without enrollment. He provides specific dates, times, and locations. Elena can't help herself. She interrupts, saying people sometimes misinterpret innocent actions as threatening. Her voice is controlled, but Daniel catches the anger underneath. The workshop facilitator, trained in recognizing manipulation, picks up on the dynamic immediately. She makes notes and asks to speak with both Daniel and Elena separately. Daniel provides his documentation: the security footage, the unauthorized class attendance, the pattern of behavior. The facilitator's expression grows more concerned as she reviews it. After Elena's meeting, her face is flushed. She's been warned that attending classes without enrollment could result in removal from campus. That night, the anonymous accounts explode with new content. Fake screenshots of threatening messages Daniel supposedly sent, doctored photos suggesting inappropriate behavior. Elena's final desperate gambit to destroy him before the administration can act. At 2 a.m. Daniel's phone rings. Theo panicked. Someone has called police, reporting that Daniel is planning something dangerous. Multiple anonymous tips have come in. Daniel stays calm, calls campus security himself, and explains the situation. When officers arrive, they quickly realize the reports are false, but another file gets created, another record of police involvement. Cliffhanger. The next morning, Daniel makes a decision that will end this war once and for all. He walks into the administration building to file a formal complaint, not about rumors or social media, but about documented policy violations and false police reports. The final battle is about to begin. Daniel Thompson sits across from Dean Patricia Morrison in the university administration building, a thick folder of evidence spread between them. Security footage, witness statements, documentation of Elena's unauthorized class attendance, and records of false police reports create an undeniable pattern. This isn't about he said she said anymore, Daniel explains calmly. These are clear policy violations with concrete evidence. The investigation takes 2 weeks. During this time, Elena makes one final, desperate play. In the crowded dining hall, she stages a confrontation, trying to provoke Daniel into a reaction that could be filmed and used against him. But Daniel is ready. He keeps his distance, stays calm, and lets Elena's performance play out in front of hundreds of witnesses. When she realizes he won't engage, she makes her biggest mistake, grabbing his arm as he tries to leave, screaming that he's running away again. This time, dozens of phones capture the truth. Daniel trying to leave peacefully while Elena physically prevents him, her aggression on full display. Security intervenes, and the incident is recorded on multiple angles. There's no way to edit or spin what happened. The administration's decision comes down a week later. Elena is banned from campus. Her unauthorized presence will be considered trespassing. The false police reports have been referred to local authorities. Several students who helped spread false information receive warnings. Even in defeat, Elena tries one last manipulation, posting a long message about being silenced by powerful institutions protecting predators. Some people believe her, they always will. But the majority see through it now. A month later, Daniel receives a letter from Elena's parents. They apologize for not seeing what their daughter was doing and explain she's getting intensive therapy with specialists who understand her condition. They thank Daniel for saving her life 3 years ago, even though she can't see it that way. Elena's letter is included, her handwriting different, less controlled. She doesn't apologize exactly, but acknowledges what she did. She writes about therapy, about understanding her need for control, about learning to live with the choice Daniel took from her. She's transferring to a school across the country. They'll never cross paths again. Daniel doesn't respond. There's nothing to say. The rest of freshman year passes quietly. Rumors fade, replaced by new campus scandals. Some people still look at him suspiciously, but most move on. Daniel rejoins study groups, makes new friends, rebuilds what was torn down. Theo becomes his closest friend. They've been through something intense together. Professor Kim becomes a mentor, helping Daniel understand not just what happened, but why. His final psychology paper on trauma responses and victim-aggressor cycles becomes his best work. Summer arrives with its promise of renewal. Daniel decides to stay on campus, taking classes and working in the library. He needs to reclaim this space as his own, to build new memories untainted by fear. One evening, studying in his favorite spot, his phone buzzes. For a moment, his heart races, old habits. But it's just his mom sending pictures from a family barbecue. Normal, everyday life continuing. Daniel realizes Elena hadn't won. She tried to take everything from him piece by piece, but he'd rebuilt each time. His family still loves him. He has real friends. He's still in college, still moving toward his future. The scars remain, he still checks over his shoulder, still feels his pulse quicken at unexpected sounds. But he's healing too, just like Elena is somewhere far away. As he packs up his books, Daniel thinks about the strange symmetry of it all. 3 years ago, he saved Elena's life and changed both their futures. She spent years trying to destroy his in return. But in the end, they're both still here, still fighting, still finding their way forward. Walking back to his dorm through the quiet campus, Daniel passes groups of summer students laughing about something on someone's phone. The normalcy feels like a gift. He's just another student walking home, anonymous in the best way. His phone buzzes again. This time it's Theo asking if he wants to grab pizza. Daniel smiles and texts back, yes. Life is moving forward, one normal moment at a time. That's all Daniel ever wanted. Not to be a hero or a villain, just a regular college student worried about exams and weekend plans. Elena tried to take that from him, but she failed. He's still here, still himself, still choosing to see good in people despite everything. As he enters his dorm, Daniel makes a decision. He'll take the lessons from this experience but won't let it define him. He saved a life once and paid a price for it. But he also learned to save his own life, to fight for his own future. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, but they'll be normal ones. Classes to attend, papers to write, friends to meet. The kind of problems he dreamed of having during those dark days when Elena's campaign was at its worst. Daniel climbs the stairs to his room, feeling lighter than he has in months. Whatever comes next, he's ready, not because he's strong or special, but because he learned that sometimes the best response to someone trying to destroy you is simply refusing to be destroyed. The door closes behind him with a quiet click. Outside, campus life continues. Inside, Daniel opens his laptop and starts his summer coursework. Just another student, just another night, just another step toward whatever future he can build. It wasn't the ending either of them planned 3 years ago when he made that 911 call, but it's real and it's his, and that's enough.